Welcome to our new pump house shed. So we finally got it in place, and we got a few little things that we need to do, like put some little blocks in the middle to support the front of this and the back in the middle. So we got all of this, and like I said, we're going to tie in the water and everything into this. And so inside we're going to insulate. You can kind of see it's a little dark. Lisa came in and we had a lot of ice that had formed in here from when we built it, so she dried all of that out because it had actually warmed up. So this needs to be dry so we can insulate it. I've got the floors secured with screws right now in the corners and in the middle, which seems to be holding it pretty well. It just needs to sit up here, so it's not a big deal. But miraculously enough, the doors close a lot better now that it's on level ground. The reviews I had read online, that was one of the things people complained about, was the doors didn't close right or whatever. I haven't seen that, so we may have to do a little bit of like I said, you know, putting it up on some blocks and stuff, and especially in the middle. It's not giving a lot, but I anticipate that over time it could. So we'll get that set up. We got it up close to the house where I need to do my tie-in, so I don't have to run a bunch of plumbing. So we'll get all of that done in the next project. So the next thing that we need to do is insulate it. And I figured out the measurements for, since it is kind of an odd size building, what insulation is going to work the best, and we'll have to procure that. We'll start putting equipment in and running plumbing. We've already done a little test with the water. We know that will work, so we just have to procure the correct instant hot water heater and park our tank over here so that we can run the water in. I'll have to poke a few holes in this unit and run our water supply in, and then obviously run our water out, so it'll have a cold and a hot supply out, and then we should have running water into our house. So that takes care of this little minor project. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. It is not first of the day, it is last of the day, and we are out here trying to get...
What does last of the day mean?
Well, it's the end of the day. So that's the reason it looks, you know, kind of like it's getting dark, because it is getting dark. So dark kind of looks like morning, so you guys don't know the difference, I mean, unless we tell you, because it's just cloudy. Anyway, we are continuing on the shed. We promised insulation and we are delivering. I thought I would be able to cram like bat insulation in here. Well, it turns out that's expensive too. Like everything else in the construction world that I haven't been paying attention to for many years. So we are doing the exact same insulation that we put under the house. It's R10 product. It is solid. It's a solid product, it's not bad. I already took first measurement, we already made the first cut. We're gonna get super purple today and probably tomorrow. But we're gonna hang our first piece in here. The lighting, I'll have my little headlamp on, hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on. But there is frame around the bottom and the top of this unit, and then you just attach the sides. Well, I'm not screwing into the galvalume on the side, the siding essentially. I'm going to screw these pieces into the framework because that's the most substantial portion. So I'm going to try that. I think it'll work. I'm pretty confident it'll work. And then we'll just have to piece together all of the different pieces to make all of this thing work. So here we go. this is kind of floppy. It'll only be floppy for a little bit. We'll put another piece up here, and then my plan is to just either I'll either put some, you know, like butyl tape or duct tape or whatever will work. I know the butyl tape is super sticky and we have some of that, so we might wind up just using some of that on this. And it is extra dirty because it's been riding in the back of my truck for 100 miles.
Mostly we're just having a hard time because it snowed. So the truck's in four-wheel drive, but it's still slipping all over, and then it's moving the trailer. So we're trying to get it right in that kitty corner there. It's tight. So now we're gonna disconnect the Dodge from the trailer and try the telehandler just to kind of use the forks and lift it up and pull it over next to the shed. So we're gonna attach them with our Yankum ropes that we got. They're like tow ropes, kinetic energy, but hopefully it'll help to secure it to the telehandler. moving. Well, you're this far from the back of the house. And the pipe.
Oh, it did straighten up. All right. Okay. Lord bless.
I think so.
Wow. Yeah, it really bless. Okay, we're dropping it. That's as good as she's gonna get.
Which we did on purpose because, and we put it over here because the water outlet is actually on this side of the tank. So you guys are probably thinking we're crazy trying to put it in this tight little space right here. And on this side, when we got all this over here, we're like, why didn't you just put it there? That seems stupid. It'd be so much easier. Well, yeah, sure it would have been easier, but once we get this 1,000-gallon water tank in place, it's staying. We're not moving it. We're taking our small 350-gallon tank and filling this one when we need to. So this one is like a permanent fixture until, you know, we build a house 10 years from now. But this is probably going to stay here. But the water outlet is right here for this 1,000-gallon tank. So it's on the right front side. So we figure it'll be easier plumbing the pump house from here. And then we just have to go to here. It'll be a little bit easier. We're still going to have some finagling to do. Have to get some tubing and plumbing tubing and stuff, but a little bit easier maybe for connecting things.
Yeah, the problem is that's so far away.
I know, I was anticipating that being closer.
Me too. Well, I mean, we can still come back further, but I don't want to do that right now. And we can definitely do it with the telehandler. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Second of the project of the day is putting some cement blocks in the middle of the shed floor. We put cement blocks on the sides, but we didn't put anything in the middle. So we're gonna lift it up with the telehandler and put some more cement blocks under there. Had the first snowstorm of the season, really. Well, I guess not. We did have snow in like early December and in November, but we did get quite a bit of snow last night. It's January 8th, and we got quite a bit. Covered everything. Temperatures are still good, like 20s, low 30s probably, high 20s, low 30s. So that's a good thing, but yeah, we got covered up quite a bit.
Put on the snow boots this morning. So the Jeep is covered pretty well. Already scraped off our porch. Hashtag pallets. Challenge number 10 of the day. We're going to try to move the truck with the water tank back to where we fill up the water. But it's very slippery. Well, it's not slippery, I don't want to say. It's very snowy. Underneath is nothing but ice. And the truck is proven not to be slippery in the snow. But ice. So, it's four-wheel drive nonetheless.
This one actually does all right. Like a jackrabbit.
Did you get it right up there?
Yeah, I got it. I mean, I got it as close as I'm comfortable in this condition. Probably about a foot off of what we normally do, so it should be fine.
I definitely don't want it falling into the creek.
Correct.
So
We
it's
never,
like a little
we wouldn't
incline
be
right
fishing
there.
it out until the summertime.
And then here it is, folks. The mighty, the magnificent.
with an update on our pump house. We have successfully delivered on our promise to get water to our little house, and not just water, hot water as well. So we have our 1,000-gallon tank over here, which you guys have seen us move into position successfully. We have filled that tank with creek water, and she's probably got about 900 gallons left in it. We've probably used 100 gallons doing different things. We had to flush the system and, you know, purge everything and all the normal things you have to do when you put in new plumbing. So if you look down here, the stock coupling that came with the trailer, this was like a wash trailer. It's got an integrated pump and all of that. So I basically took a 2-inch rubber boot and married that down to 1-inch flexible PVC, and then that's what's providing the inlet to our connection to our pump. We've also taken some heat trace and heat traced all of this all the way through, and I'll show you all of that. But basically that's the connection. We put a little 1.25-inch hole in here to pull that through, and then in here so like I said, the flexible PVC comes in through. We've insulated the whole thing. We've got a barb connection into a sediment filter check valve into the inlet of the pump. Obviously this pump is just a small pump. It's nothing, I think it's like a horse and a half. But it's got an integrated pressure tank, max pressure 50 psi, which is perfect for our service here. Then we have discharge of the pump, another flexible PVC going into these giant filters. So we have a sediment filter, a carbon filter, and then an iron and manganese filter, which are working great. And these are obviously overkill for what we need here, but the plan is once we migrate into a home that we build, obviously these will migrate with us. So out of here, we basically have more flexible PVC. We've integrated our heat trace on that to keep all of that nice and unthawed, or thawed I should say. And then I have isolation valves all the way through the system. So this is the cold side, obviously going into the cold side of the water heater. And then you have a hot side coming out, flexible PVC on that as well, going out to the house. Both the house services are barb connections similar to this. That was just because it's easier to do that, you know, and given the need for a little bit of flexibility, I didn't want to hard pipe a bunch of PVC in here, and
we can disconnect easy.
Yeah, and it allows for modularity if we ever needed to move this thing for any reason, or we decided we were going to move the houses in the future.
We can weather.
Yeah, we can disconnect real easily and move them. But obviously isolation valves crucial. You got to have isolation valves to isolate all your equipment. If you're ever having to pull lines, pull filters, all of that's super handy. So all of that's in place. The nice thing is we upgraded from our original plan, or my original plan, which was just one of those little camp style water heaters, to a full house service water heater. This thing is freaking awesome. It will flow up to 5.3 gallons per minute depending on the inlet temperature of your water. For our groundwater, which isn't groundwater, it's creek water, we have a cattle heater in that tank, just like we've kept in our 300-gallon tank, because we don't want 1,000-gallon popsicles. It keeps it at about 50 to 55 degrees, so that increases the flow. Just for a frame of reference, at 50 degrees on inlet water temperature, you'll get 3 gallons a minute out of this thing, which is pretty sweet. That's enough to run 2 showers, a shower and something else, you know, like a dishwasher or washing machine, something like that. Once your temperature, if your temperature goes down to, say, let's say 35 degrees, it goes from 50 to 35, that capability of this drops to about 2 gallons a minute. So it drops about a full gallon a minute in service. But it is nice. This thing has been awesome so far in all of our testing. I'm running it off of just a little, you know, 20-pound tank right now. We have a 200,000 BTU pressure regulator on it, and then obviously this is a 2-stage regulator into an isolation valve into some flex going straight into the service side, gas side of the water heater. All working very, very well. I'm very surprised this thing will run off a 20 gallon. Obviously the long-term plan is we'll put our 100-gallon, our 100-pound in service, and
propane tank.
yeah, we've got a 100-pound propane tank, which is going to sit up here, which will be super sweet. This has not used much propane at all, but we have this tank. It's got propane in it. We want to use it. You know, we don't want to waste money. So that is that. We have also taken the time to go ahead and more insulate this. We bought another sheet of foam board insulation to insulate the inside of this. We don't keep a heat lamp in here, and the temperatures have been about 30 degrees outside, and it stays about 40 degrees in here, so that's perfect. That means things won't freeze. We put the added insurance of the heat trace on the inlet piping going out there, because obviously nothing out there is protected. And you know, we're just trying to buy good cheap insurance here so that we don't have big problems later. The temperatures have been a little bit warmer. Obviously it's a mess in there because it's been kind of muddy. The snow that we got really thawed quickly, and now it's really created a problem with mud. And anyway, so we'll have some cleanup to do after this dries up a little bit, but not a problem. More excited that we have full service water to our home, and we can do things like normal people, like take a shower, wash our hands. Not that we weren't doing that before, but creek water is very cold, and you know, you don't want to be trying to take a bath or even wash your hands or wash pots and pans and things like that, which we were doing. We were tired. We were warming water on our little stove so we could wash dishes. We've taken that out of service. We're no longer hauling buckets of water. We've got 1,000-gallon service now. The question will be, how long will that last us? We have used a lot. We actually filled this thing all the way, what I call slap full, which is 1,025 gallons. I think that's just more of a frame of reference than anything. I'm not saying it's not 1,025 gallons. I'm just saying that the little gauge on the side may not be exactly accurate. But in any case, we've at least used 100 gallons since we put this into service a few days back.
We've taken 2 showers,
washed many dishes. So that's the good, and hopefully it'll stay good, and we'll have good things to report as a result.
And your testing of the water.
Yeah, so I did some testing of the water, and you know, the water stays, you know, like I said, at about 50 degrees coming in, no less than 50 degrees coming in, and the total dissolved solids in it is like 25, and it stays at about 25. Really, the filter, I don't know that the filters we bought and spent so much money on are really providing that much benefit, because literally we've been drinking the water out of the creek. We've been using it for our coffee. We've been, you know, making food with it, all of that. And when
you test it in the 1,000-gallon, it's 23 to 25.
Yeah, it's in that same range.
And
so I mean,
when you test it out of the faucet, it's also,
yeah, it's well within the margin of error. So I put the margin of error, you know, plus or minus 5 on that, because it is a cheap China unit. but I just wanted an idea to kind of get an idea, frame of reference of where we're at with it. So anyway, yeah, it's perfectly, it's on the scale of perfectly drinkable water, which we are very fortunate. That was one of the reasons we bought this property, was that it did have that creek. And people, you know, people I'd run into, you know, here and there out here that, you know, saw that we were constructing things and receiving equipment and all of that, the first thing out of their mouth was, you know, that creek water is drinkable. Well, it looks drinkable, that's good to know. And that was always the plan, was to use the water out of the creek. It actually has turned out much better than we thought, so that's great. We have, you know, there's no rush to put in a well, because we have this bad boy right here, and we have
200-foot hose.
Yeah, we've got a hose that we can fill it. The creek's back over there about 200 feet away, so we can get line of sight to this thing and fill it up. And hopefully we won't have to do that very often. We are actually, or I am actually considering buying more tankage for more storage for when the creek isn't full of water, because there will be times in the late summer where it won't have very good supply. So we want to make sure we don't run out. So we've got a 300-gallon tank in the back of the truck that we're going to keep, and then I'm looking at getting some food grade totes and washing those out and using those for water as well. So those would only be used obviously in the times where, you know, winter or summer. Winter when the creek is frozen, summer when the creek dries up a little bit. But we are blessed to have you know, great drinkable water and not have to treat it or anything. Like I said, I think that we bought the filters thinking that the water wasn't going to be as good as it was, but it is not wasted money. You know, having those filters to cut down on the amount of iron in the water and things like that is helpful. So we may at some point get the water fully tested at a lab just to kind of see how good it is. We'll get the supply water out of the tank or out of the creek tested, and then we'll get water out of the tap tested and compare the results and see where we're at. It may be that, you know, we don't need it, but eventually we will have a well. Wells are kind of notorious in, well, I wouldn't say in this area necessarily, but wells in general can have higher iron content and things like that, more sediment in them. So anyway, that's just the nature of having a well, and we may get a lot more use out of those filters at that point. So that is the update. I cannot think of anything else to update you folks on. We appreciate you guys watching and the interest, and we'll see you on the next project. We are going to show you how we clean our vehicles with our off-grid pressure washer. Yeah, off-grid. It is off-grid. Lisa's going to clean up some things, and we've got a little bit of a mud pit, so the vehicles are in dire need, and the roads are not great.
The homestead roads.
Well, the roads everywhere.
No, they're just snowy.
All right, drop the hammer.
We drop in our suction
with a weight
attached to a hammer, so it goes all the way to the bottom.
Alright, she's on there. So you do want a different nozzle?
That's up to you. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get one that's a little bit higher spray. Get that hose out here before I trip and die.
So the wand that came with the pressure washer, which is right in here, we keep it in the Connex because it's so heavy you can't really move it around very easily.
Believe us, we've tried. It's very heavy, so.
Yeah, it is, and it's got sensitive portions of the pressure washer, parts of the pressure washer under it, so you cannot hit the bottom on anything. It's not totally sealed up down there.
So we keep it in the Connex, and then the wand that came with it leaks from this nozzle here.
So we bought a new one.
We bought a new one off Amazon.
Yeah, and it works great.
Yeah,
All
it
right,
does awesome.
so I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit because it was only 30 degrees yesterday, so it's basically cold.
Oh.
The heater wasn't even coming on.
It
so.
did come on quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. It comes on and off real quick.
Can you hand me those earmuffs?
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have those. You gotta have earmuffs with this thing.
It's loud. It's loud. Huh? It's unbelievable.
It's what?
Unbelievable. Compared to that janky thing they sent, this is the cat's meow. This is 1,000% upgrade, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the pressure washer?
Oh yeah, and we don't even have it turned up all the way.
Like the heat?
Oh, and the heat and the pressure. The heat's on or off, but the pressure we've got dialed down.
So, we bought a Mustang. Now, this may not be your typical Mustang. Be prepared. Although we've added to our equipment kingdom, which we're both